We teach two different types of lineups to our beginners and our advanced divers in the Human Springs program. The first is a standing front lineup pike, and the second is a sitting front lineup in tuck. The standing front lineup can be performed with the arms in a T or with the hands already grabbed. The beginners, we teach them to start with their hands already grabbed. This is typically a lineup that we perform on the 3 meter and the 1 meter. The tuck roll-off is a little more difficult to perform on 1 meter. It's doable, but it's a little bit challenging. We'll get to that in just a second. The standing front lineup pike, arms grabbed, which we commonly refer to as a flug, a front lineup grabbed. A couple of things that we want to look at with the front lineup standing. Number one, the diver is going to stand on the board bent down as far as they can with their legs completely straight. They're going to demonstrate balance in that position, bent over on the end of the diving board. They're going to be looking out in front of them at the surface of the water about 45 degrees out in front of them. They're going to stare at that point on the water. They're going to look at that point under their thumb. Okay, we don't want them looking at the entry point over top, under the thumb with the shoulders squeezing over the ears. They're going to stare at that point and aim their hands at it as they fall. Before they fall, they're going to rise up on their toes and stay on their tiptoes as they fall and aim to that point. Now this is, there's another video that we have that demonstrates the problems that this causes, but you can get in some real trouble if your ankles start to move around as you're falling. So we stay on tiptoes, look at that point as we're falling, dive down through. Now it's really important that when the diver hits the water that they follow the correct path down through the water. This is a safety issue. If a diver is coming down off the board, they hit the surface of the water and immediately arch their back and turn that way. They're rotating one way and then turning the other way. It can put a tremendous strain on the diver's back as they go through the water. So we really have to watch that. What we should see with beginners is they hit the water, they pass through the surface of the water in a completely straight line and travel straight down, then come back up. As they become more skilled, more competent, they're going to pass entirely through the water. Once their feet go underwater, they're going to pike, somersault, and come back up. And then very advanced divers, more advanced divers, are going to learn to control the verticality of the entry by pike saving as they pass through the water. Beginners, you do not want to teach to pike save as they pass through the water, or they just cannonball and the dive blows up. They'll create a gigantic splash as they go through the water. So at first we're passing all the way through straight. As they become more competent, they pass all the way through straight and then they pike once their feet are underwater. And then very advanced divers, we will start to teach them to manipulate the verticality of their legs as they pass through the water. Okay? But the key here is that there is no scooping on those entries. We don't want to hurt anybody's back. So what are we looking at? Ankles still, so they're on their tiptoes as they're falling. 2, they're using their eyes to aim at an entry point that is down 45 degrees out. If they're going over consistently, they can aim further out and keep looking at that spot as they go through. And then once they hit the water, holding their body line as they pass through, as they become more advanced, passing through and then piking, and then as they become more advanced, still pike saving as they pass through the surface of the water. So that's the front lineup grabbed and the front lineup T. The only thing that we need to know about the front lineup T is that when the arms come up on a front line-up tee, they're going to start with their arms exactly at a 90-degree angle from their shoulder, so that when you look at them from the side, their fingers are pointing straight at you, not out in front or way back behind you or holding too low. So you've got to talk to them about what the position of their arms is before they go. And then when they bring their arms up, they bring their arms directly up the side of the body. Common error is to bring it in front, and then it pulls behind, so that as they go through the water, their arms are moving backward. That creates an arch, that creates shoulder problems. Okay, so that's the front line-up pike, standing. Okay, front line-up tuck, the diver is going to go all the way out onto the end of the diving board and sit on the very edge with their bum right at the edge of the board. If the diver's bum is too far back on the board, when they roll, they're going to create too much rotation and go over. So what you want to see is the bum right on the very edge, and they'll roll off. Once they're free of the board, they kick strong and dive through. Okay, this is a great simulation for front dive tuck and front 1.5 tuck. The divers can practice a nice tight tuck position. They can also practice quickly moving their arms from the tuck position through a slight T and grab over their ears quickly. And again, we're trying to avoid that arm swing way out in front, which puts them into an arch. So they're going outside in for the grab. Okay, so that's, and then once they've done that skill, once they've rolled off and kicked and extended to a straight line, it's all the same concerns that we have, the same performance standards going through the water. It's totally straight line down and back up, totally straight line until the feet go under and then pike, and then starting to pike save as they go through each stage as the diver becomes more advanced. All right, so using those lineup skills, using those two different types of lineups, the standing front lineup in pike and the sitting front lineup in tuck, will help the divers tremendously on their front dive, front 1.5, front 2.5 as they get more advanced, and then the inward dive, inward 1.5, inward 2.5 as well. So let's work on those two different skills. Let's keep a close eye on how they're moving through the water and what they're looking at before they go. And I think that we will see some real benefits in the long run in the entry skills for all of our kids.